We have called all of you here today to alert the Nigerian public to a developing ugly incident that gravely endangers Nigeria's democracy, rule of law, and the will of the Nigerian people. It has come to the notice of Umahi that there may be an illicit cartel in the headquarters of the Independent National Electoral Commission that is allegedly specialized in forgery of BVAS reports and other INEC documents for unscrupulous politicians to the detriment of the wishes of the Nigerian electorate. This much was revealed in a petition by aggrieved parties to the Inspector General of Police dated June 13, 2023. Specifically, we note with dismay the grievous allegation that the immediate past governor of Ebonyi State, Chief David Umahi, had procured a BVAS report and compliance certificate from the aforementioned cartel within INEC to advance for sinister purposes targeted at perverting justice and endangering democracy. We are further alarmed by the accusation that some staff of INEC, namely Mrs. Nena A. Essien, an Assistant Director, Data Management in INEC Headquarters, and one Rekia A. Nazu, a Deputy Director in INEC, amongst others, may have colluded with the former governor of Ebonyi State to procure the alleged fake BVAS report and compliance certificates in his bid to subvert the will of the people of Ebonyi South Senatorial District. This allegation is one that strikes at the heart of Nigeria's democracy and therefore must not be left unattended or be treated with levity, irrespective of the characters that may be involved. Who knows how many more desperate politicians across the length and breadth of our country, Nigeria, that are in possession of similar forged INEC documents procured from this criminal cartel within the commission and jostling to mislead the judiciary in different locations. We are also aware that the Acting Inspector General of Police, IGP, a man of high professional standing and integrity, had on his appointment promised, and I quote, to devour the internal enemies of Nigeria like a lion. Consequently, Odimande Ebonyi is convinced that there are no greater enemies of Nigeria than those focused on truncating her democracy and its gains so far. Accordingly, this is a test case for the IGP to prove his commitment and resolve to fight crime and other anti-Nigerian forces.
Consequence upon these revelations, we in the Odima Ebonyi group use this opportunity to make the following demands from Nigerian authorities in the interest of the integrity of our electoral system and survival of our growing democracy. Number one, we call on the Acting Inspector General of Police, Mr. Kayode Egbetokun, in line with his vow to resolve to fight the enemies of Nigeria. Of course, we recall that he said he's like a tiger that will fight the enemies of Nigeria, to immediately constitute a crack forensic team to investigate these grave allegations, and if found to be true, to ensure that the perpetrators of this evil against the people of Nigeria are brought to book immediately. Secondly, we demand on the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to openly cooperate with the police and the Nigerian public, as well as other relevant law enforcement agents, to unravel the allegation in the interest of the integrity of the commission and the development of our country. Thirdly, we call on all the courts Court of Justice handling the election petitions, especially in the case of Ebonyi State, to be on their alert and ensure that they are not hoodwinked or smeared by unscrupulous and desperate politicians, but discharge their duties according to law, and most importantly, on the strength of verifiable and valid evidences that will be presented before it, in the interest of justice and rule of law. Finally, we also want to use this opportunity to call on the media, the civil society organizations, Ebonyi people, and indeed the general public to be vigilant and stand by democracy by impressing it upon INEC, the police, and indeed the judiciary, which has been largely described as the last hope of the common man, to ensure that justice must prevail. An injury to one Nigerian is an injury to all. Recently, we read some media reports and articles on the attempt by some persons, especially some high-ranking persons in Ebonyi State, to influence miscarriage of justice at the tribunals. And a reference point was a case of House of Representatives petition involving the Labour Party candidate for Abakaliki and Izzi Federal Constituency, Dr. Emmanuel Eze, which was recently dismissed based on technical grounds. So the matter has been appealed from what we gather, and we believe that the appeal court is going to ensure justice. But we're just alerting our people and citizens, and also calling on various persons within the judiciary to ensure that there is no miscarriage of justice. Before the tribunals began sitting, the Chief Justice assured Nigerians that the various tribunals would dispense justice based on the merit of the petitions and not based on technicalities. And we believe in the judiciary, and it behoves on the various tribunals to act in accordance with the statements made on behalf of that respectable institution, that is going to dispense justice based on the merits and not based on technicalities. So we want to believe that irrespective of the efforts some desperate politicians might be making, that the revered justices and members of the tribunal, especially the Ebonyi State petition tribunals at different levels, whether state assemblies, national assemblies, or governorship, are going to make their decisions based on law and based on the merits of the matters before it, and not based on technicalities.
Already endorsed and authenticated by INEC, indicating that indeed the Beavers report being currently paraded by the former governor of the state, Chief David Umahi, is indeed not authentic, and by their own admission, by the admission of the Secretary of INEC, the Beavers report that Engineer David Umahi forwarded to pursue his case does not emanate from INEC. And because, let me give you a little background. There is a candidate of the Labour Party, there's a candidate of the PDP for both Senate. All of them contested for Ebonyi South Senate seat. And there's also another candidate for Ohozara Onitsha Ivo Federal Constituency, who also requested for the certified true copy of the Beavers report for Hanivo, which comprise 3 local governments within Ebonyi South Senatorial District. And then the PDP Senate candidate, Senator Michael Aman Najib, also requested a certified true copy from INEC, which INEC obliged them. The Labour Party candidate, Honorable Linus Okorie, also requested for this CTC from INEC, and INEC obliged all three of them. And you can see clearly that the three CTCs for the Labour Party House of Rep candidates, the Labour Party Senate candidate, and the PDP Senate candidate all tally. But that of former Governor David Umahi is the only one that is different. And curiously, these four documents were signed by the same person, that's Mrs. Nena A. Essien. And the Labour Party candidate already wrote to INEC to find out which of these CTCs is the accurate one. And INEC in writing replied that the ones in possession of those three other candidates are the correct one. On the strength of this finding, there's been a petition already submitted at the Office of the Inspector General of Police for proper investigation of this matter. So it's not a hearsay, it's indeed a strong allegation. Thank you.